Good morning and welcome to the IIF Digital Finance Symposium. This is the second such symposium, but the first one was in Brussels a year ago, so I'm sure for a lot of our guests today it's the first such event, and we're delighted to have you all here. I'm Brad Carr of the IIF, and I'll be the meeting host. I'm going to hand over in just a moment to our CEO Tim Adams to give the opening remarks, but I'll just make a couple of quick logistical observations and announcements before that if I can. Firstly, we have a terrific lineup of speakers, and some have come from very far afield. Sopnendu Mohanty from the Monetary Authority of Singapore wins the prize for the furthest travelled. And I can tell you that I have my parents visiting at the moment from the same time zone, and Sopnendu is handling the jet lag considerably better than they are. Honourable mention also to Annalise Schnarr-Campbell from Standard Bank in Johannesburg, who I think is probably our second most travelled. You'll hear from each of them in the session this morning between the morning tea and lunch breaks. Our thanks obviously to our friends at Deloitte who have made this day possible, including their tremendous support on a number of the logistics in putting this together. You'll also hear from a number of Deloitte experts through the day, starting with Carlos Orta on our opening panel on consumer data and open banking. If you haven't already, I encourage you to download the IIF Events app on your mobile devices. You can see some instructions there. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a second, but I just, before I jump into the first interactive opportunity there, I might just run through a couple of the features. Also, hopefully you got a card as you entered with the details of the GWU Wi-Fi connections. If you have any problems accessing either the app or the Wi-Fi, please reach out to any of the IIF or GWU staff that are present. On the app, as well as today's agenda and details of each of the speakers and all participants, you'll find all of our IIF reports and comment letters, including on open banking, data localisation, machine learning, cloud and crypto. You'll also see some links to some great Deloitte reports there as well. And there's also a link to our FRT podcast series, and we have our latest episode 36, I believe to be uploaded today, where the former Deputy Superintendent of OSFI in Canada, Mark Zellmer, discusses open banking and the impacts for banks' fiduciary duties and liquidity with us. The two big interactive functions on the app that I wanted to highlight. Firstly, we encourage you to submit questions during the sessions. We'll have an iPad up on stage with the moderator for each session. Your questions will come through to the moderator and they will look to work those into the conversation. So please take that opportunity to submit your own questions through that via the app. And the other thing is that we have a series of online polls for the day. And again, this is a further opportunity to, I guess, highlight your own preferences and priorities on each of these topics. My homeland's just gone through an election where, once again, political polls have been exposed as being wildly inaccurate, but we trust that the audience and the methodology we have here will be far more accurate and pertinent, far more reliable. So we'll have that series of polls, but to firstly get started, if you have the app open and ready, we have a test question to kick that off. And if we can get that up on the screen there. Who will win this year's NBA Finals, which start tomorrow night? And if you haven't already guessed, haven't already worked out, of course, we uploaded this question onto the app last week when there were 3 teams that were still live. One of those has since been eliminated. But if you can go ahead in the app and cast your vote for which of those 3, or in reality now 2 options, you think will win the NBA Finals. And if you can cast that, and we'll just give that a second to run through the app. You see the results coming up on screen. Clearly not everyone is aware of who was eliminated. My 7-year-old son is a devout Golden State Warriors fan, so he'll be very happy with you all. Dennis Ferenzi, the resident Canadian in our digital team, maybe a little bit less so. Okay, so we'll have a bit of fun with that through the day. At the start of quite a number of the panel sessions and conversations, we'll have a test poll, have a polling question. And yeah, again, we very much encourage you to participate and to be part of that. Lastly, we also encourage you to tweet with the hashtag IIFDigital, and a reminder that the videos of all sessions today will subsequently be uploaded on the IIF website, where they can be viewed there also. So let's get the program underway, and please join me in welcoming to the stage the IIF CEO and President, Tim Adams.